Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Hey, welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. You know, after trying something different yesterday with the diner story, I found myself thinking about another moment from years ago. One of those moments that probably does not sound important if you explain it quickly. But if it had gone differently, I think it would have stayed with me for a very long time. I had somebody in my life back then who mattered deeply to me. Good person, good heart, but like most human beings, both of us were carrying stress that we didn't always know how to talk about very well. One evening we got into a conversation that slowly started turning sideways. Nothing dramatic at first, just little misunderstandings piling up quietly. One comment landing wrong, another one coming back with more edge than it probably needed. You could feel both of us starting to defend ourselves instead of really listening anymore. And I remember the exact moment it changed inside me. I felt myself preparing a sentence. Not an honest sentence, not a healing sentence. A sentence designed to win. You probably know the kind I mean. The sort of thing you say because you know exactly where to place the knife emotionally. The sentence that would let you walk away feeling temporarily powerful while the other person sat there wounded. And for a second, I wanted to say it. That's the part people don't always admit out loud. Sometimes when we're hurt, there's a part of us that wants the other person to hurt too. Not forever, maybe. Just enough that they finally understand what we are feeling. But standing there in that moment, something else entered my mind almost immediately afterward. I remember thinking, if I say this, the conversation may end, but something else may end with it too. Trust maybe, safety, tenderness, something fragile. And once certain things break between people, apologizing does not magically restore them to the exact shape they were before. That realization stopped me. Not perfectly either. I was still frustrated, still emotional, still convinced I had reasons to be upset. But suddenly I became more aware of what was really happening. The conversation was no longer about solving anything. It had become about protecting pride and avoiding vulnerability. Both of us were trying not to feel misunderstood. So we were slowly becoming less understandable to each other. It's funny how human beings do that to each other. I've done it a long time. I remember getting quieter after that. Not passive-aggressive quiet, just thoughtful quiet. And after a minute, I said something very different than what I almost said. I said, I don't think we're hearing each other anymore. That changed the entire direction of the night. Not instantly. The tension did not magically disappear. But something softened because neither of us had crossed that invisible line where the goal becomes emotional damage instead of understanding. I think about that moment a lot now. Mostly because I realize how many important relationships in life, mine and others, are shaped by sentences people decided not to say. People talk a lot about communication, but honestly, restraint is part of communication too. Not suppression, not silence, but restraint. The ability to recognize when your emotions are trying to hand the microphone to the worst part of you. That ability matters, especially now, and I've not always been able to do it. I've really messed up a number of times. The world feels emotionally overheated sometimes, guys. Everybody seems ready for conflict all the time. One misunderstanding becomes total condemnation. One disagreement becomes a reason to stop seeing each other's humanity. And when life starts feeling like that, it becomes very easy to forget how fragile people actually are underneath all of their defenses. A single cruel sentence can echo inside somebody for years. Most of us can still remember certain words said to us decades ago, not because we're weak, but because human beings absorb emotional injury deeply when it comes from someone they trusted. That's why awareness matters so much in difficult conversations. Not perfection, but awareness. Awareness of where your words are coming from. Awareness of whether your goal is honesty or punishment. Awareness of whether the relationship still matters more to you than your temporary need to win. And look, sometimes relationships do end. Some should end. Not every situation can be healed through patience and communication. There are unhealthy dynamics that require distance and boundaries. But even then, there's a difference between leaving with clarity and leaving after setting everything on fire emotionally. I think many people carry regrets, not because they walked away from something unhealthy, but because of who they became while walking away from it. That distinction matters, because the older I get, the more I realize peace is not found in winning emotional battles. Peace comes from remaining connected to the kind of person you actually want to be once the moment passes. That night, years ago, the conversation eventually settled down. Neither of us handled it perfectly, but we found our way back to each other because neither one of us fully surrendered to the worst version of ourselves in the middle of the hurt. And honestly, I think love survives more often through those quiet decisions than through grand romantic moments. Love survives because somebody paused, somebody softened, somebody remembered the other person mattered more than the argument did. That's the kind of thing that changes endings. Not dramatically and not all at once, just one moment of awareness at exactly the right time. Something to think about, right? Anyway, I love you guys very, 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 very much. And you know what I need you to do, right? Go out there and pass that on. Another thing I'd like you to pass on is this podcast. Share it, please. Let's get some more users. We're almost at 400. Anyway, well, take that back. We're almost at 500. Talk to you soon. Later, Gators. Bye-bye.